What's going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to be going over the Bay Area real estate market update for May of 2022. So if you are looking to buy or sell a home in the Bay Area, you definitely need to check out this video to see if now's a good time to buy or sell a property. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. My name's Sean and I love real estate. And on this channel, we go over real estate investing tips, strategies, and current events to help you become a real estate investing boss. So if you like videos like this one, then I highly encourage you guys to like the video and subscribe to see our videos just like this one. In these Bay Area market updates, we go over the statistics for Santa Clara County, Contra Costa County, San Mateo County, Alameda County, and San Francisco County. We'll be looking at the basic statistics that most realtors use to determine the health of the market. So without further ado, let's hop on in. So the first statistic we're going to look at are single family homes in Santa Clara County. So we are filming this towards the end of April. Normally I film these at the very first day of the next month, but I am leaving for a trip. So some of this data might be a little bit old. It might be data that we saw on the last month's video, but it's still relatively new information. So we're gonna try our best here. So if we look at Santa Clara County, we can see the sales to list price ratio, as well as the days on market. So if we look at the data here, it looks like it has not been updated for the next month yet. Usually the full month needs to complete before they update this next line here for April of 2022. So let's just go over this data in case you didn't see my report from last month. If this is your first market update, you might be confused about what these two numbers mean. So the first one here is your percentage. The percentage is the sales to list price ratio. And what this means is how much a property actually sells for relative to what it was listed for. And as an example, let's say a property was listed at $1 million and it ends up selling for $1.15 million. That means your sales to list price ratio is 115% because your property sold for 15% more than what you actually listed it for. And as you can see here that this trend has been rising ever since September of 2021. We've seen the sales to list price ratio for single family homes in Santa Clara County slowly climb up. So now we're at 118%. So again, for that same example, if a property was listed at $1 million, then you can expect the property to sell for $1.18 million. And the bar chart here represents the average days to sell the property. So what this means is how long it takes on average for a property to be listed by the agent and for it to go pending, or also known as getting under contract by the buyer and the seller. So in here, the average is 10 days, which means that a real estate agent could put a property up on a Wednesday and by the following Sunday, so not the next Sunday, but the one after that, it will be under contract. As you can see here, this trend is also going down. So the lower this number is, the hotter the market is. It just means that properties on average are being picked up at a super fast pace. Now, of course, this is an average. So some properties are being picked up at 5 days. Some properties are being picked up after 20 days or even 30 days. So on average, it looks like the market in Santa Clara County is very strong, where your sales to list price ratio has continued to go up and your days on market have continued to go down. The next metric we look at is the months of inventory. So what this signifies is if no new properties were put on the market and properties keep selling at the same rate that they're selling at now, how long will it take before we have no more properties left? And in this case, we have less than 1 month. Generally speaking, if the months of inventory is less than 3 months, then you're in a seller's market. And as you can tell, we've been in a seller's market for a very long time. All through the ups and downs throughout the many years, the Bay Area has never been above 3 months of inventory, at least not for single family properties in Santa Clara County. So the market is still very strong, and there was a bit of a slowdown in the winter time, but it looks like it's going down now again. Now the next metric we look at are the number of homes for sale versus sold. So this kind of shows us our inventory. How many properties do we have on the market? Well, there are 690 properties, and we have sold 981. So don't forget, this number of sold properties means that they went under contract about a month ago in February. And as we know, in February, it was a really crazy hot market. So a lot of these properties actually sold in March and finally closed escrow. As you can see from the trends, it looks like properties were not going on the market as much all the way up to December. And then as spring came around, more and more sellers were okay with selling their properties, so they put them back on the market. But kind of in step, we see more properties actually being sold. So properties are being picked up at a faster pace than they're being put on the market. Again, this is just showing the dynamics of the demand in the Bay Area. We have more properties being sold than on the market. Again, it signifies that you are in an unbalanced market. Demand is stronger than supply, therefore prices will also increase. If you look at our sales price over time, we can also see that there is a trend going upwards of the sales prices. So as the months go by, you can see that the prices are increasing as well. So right now we're at the late stage of April. Right now the average is $2.34 million for properties in Santa Clara County, which again is insane. Every single month it seems like it's been going up. Sometimes there are some ebbs and flows where it goes down a little bit, but generally speaking, the trend is upwards and people are paying more for properties in Santa Clara County. So next we're going to look at the same metrics, but for condos and townhouses in Santa Clara County. So we can see here that again, these numbers have not been updated for April, but we'll go over them anyway. It looks like your sales to list price ratio is at 111%. Again, trending upwards. So over time, people are bidding more and more above the listing price for these properties, and your days on market are going down. So that means that people aren't leaving their condos up on the market very long. They're getting picked up relatively quickly, especially considering the winter months of like December and January. Now it's going down to 11. Looking at the months of inventory, we can see that the number again has gone down a little bit. Number of homes for sale versus sold. Again, this huge dynamic of properties that are being sold a lot faster than they're being put on the market. Again, creating this shift where more people need to put up more money to grab the relatively low supply of condos out there. And our sales prices over time, again, is trending upwards, with more and more people paying more money for these condos. Next, we'll look at single family homes for San Mateo County. So San Mateo County, it looks like the days on market has been continuously going down. And we see that the sales to list price ratio has remained relatively flat from the previous month, but still pretty high, above 115%. Our months of inventory here have gone down a little bit from, I guess, its peak here in February. So if you remember from that last graph, we saw a small bump in February, and it's because of this. We have more properties on the market than properties being sold, again creating that slowdown. But now that trend has reversed, and more properties were sold than were put on the market. So again, in terms of that pace of property being sold, we are seeing the trend where more people are buying houses now than they were in the past. And sales price over time tends to be trending upwards as well. Okay, now looking at condos and townhouses for San Mateo County. So we can see here that your sales to list price ratio has gone down a little bit, but your days on market have also gone down a little bit. So it means that properties are being picked up quickly, but they're not crazy overpaying for these properties that are listed. All right, and it looks like months of inventory have gone down a little bit. The number of homes for sale versus sold. Again, if you want to be in the seller's market, you want to see more of this dynamic where you have a larger green bar than a larger red bar. So here we see that the trends have reversed a little bit from the winter months where you have more properties being sold. But if you look here, it looks like in the past few months and even a few years, San Mateo County's condo and townhouse market was being hurt pretty badly. But that trend is slowly starting to reverse, where these properties are now being able to be sold at a relatively fast pace. All right, and we see that sales price over time has gone up and down, but it looks like it's back up to its peak. All right, now looking at the San Francisco County data, it looks like our days on market have decreased, which is good. Again, it means that properties are being sold quickly, and your sales to list price ratio has gone up even more. So these numbers are pretty insane, 122%. That means people are bidding 22% on average above the listing price. So again, it makes me think that in San Francisco County, the strategy is just to market it super, super low so that you get a lot of buyers in there and then just bid up the property. And at this point, maybe your sales price isn't even relevant. It's just kind of like a marketing tool to get people to come inside. If we look at the months of inventory, it looks like we're down from 2 months just to 1 month. So the months of inventory in San Francisco County is not as great as it is in Santa Clara County, but it's still relatively good relative to the nationwide average of 3 months. If we look at the number of homes for sale versus sold, we can see that there are more properties on the market than properties being sold. So San Francisco market is definitely colder relative to Santa Clara County. And the sales price over time, it looks like it is trending upwards relative to January, but it looks like it's actually flattening out from March. So if we look at the condo and townhouse market for San Francisco County, we can see that your days on market have decreased a little bit, and your sales to list price ratio have been trending upwards a little bit. Now you can see here, these numbers are actually a lot higher. These are at 29 days, 60 days. And basically the condo and townhouse market in San Francisco County has been relatively frozen since the COVID pandemic happened. People just don't want to pay that much money to live in a small condo when they can just move 30 or 40 minutes away and have a whole big house to themselves. Considering that they don't need to work in the office anymore, I mean, why not? Just go a couple of minutes in another direction and you can get a much bigger place. So condos and townhouses have been hurting quite a bit since COVID happened. If you look at the months of inventory, you can see they're flirting in the 4-month range or 2-month range. Definitely a lot higher than what we're seeing in these other counties. And looking at the number of homes for sale versus sold, same here, you can see that there's so much inventory relative to the properties that are being sold. Like in other counties, this green bar is way higher than the red bar. Here, it's reversed. You have a lot of properties just sitting on the market versus the ones that are being sold. But looking at the sales price over time, you can see that it is still relatively flat, but also kind of trending upwards for this month. All right, so next we're gonna look at Alameda County single family homes. So Alameda County single family homes, you can see that there has been a huge jump in the sales to list price ratio. We're now at 121%, and days on market have decreased to 11 days. So this is actually really interesting because I know that the Alameda market is super hot, whereas San Francisco is not that hot. Now, even though they have these percentages being the same, like the sales to list price ratio, I think there's two fundamentally different things going on here. In San Francisco, the listing agents are deliberately listing them low to get a lot of buyers into it, whereas in Alameda County, they're just genuinely getting people who are way overbidding on properties because they want to buy a house at a good deal. It may not be a good deal, it's just affordable relative to what they can get in other counties. So you can see here that days on market is really low and sales to list price ratio is really high. Okay, looking at the months of inventory, you can see that it's below 1 month. And your number of homes for sale versus sold is this huge dynamic where you have way more properties being sold than properties that are on the market. And it looks like this trend of your sales price has continued to increase since December. So it's going up, 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 and up. Now, when we look at a condo and townhouse market in Alameda County, we can see that your sales to list price ratio has gone up and your days on market have gone down. Months of inventory here have also gone down a little bit relative to January. And your number of homes for sale versus sold, it looks like there was a bit of a slowdown in January and February where you had more properties on the market, but now that trend has reversed where properties are being closed and sold way more in March. And we have a small trend upwards on the sales price as well. So properties are at the 800 plus mark now. Okay, now we'll look at Contra Costa County single family homes. And we can see here that there was some interesting behavior happening where your sales to list price ratio was really high and then it went relatively low in the fall and winter months, and now it's peaking back up again. So properties are being sold at a higher price relative to their listing price. And it looks like your days on market have also gone through this cycle too, where they were relatively low, they took a little bit longer to sell all the way in the winter, and now they're starting to sell a lot faster now in March. Months of inventory here looks like it has been going down. So again, that's a good sign. It means that the market is very healthy and very competitive. Your number of homes here, wow, look at this. You have way more properties that are being sold than properties that are active on the market. So again, this dynamic causes this huge shift where people just want properties in Contra Costa County. It's a great place to buy, I guess. And sales price over time has been continuing to go up from December all the way to now. Okay, finally, we're gonna look at the data for Contra Costa County condos and townhouses. And wow, this is a nice, interesting graph, right? It's like a downward spiral and then upward swing. So here we have 108% for the sales to list price ratio, and it looks like your days on market have been trending downwards too. So again, spring months usually boom for the real estate market. Months of inventory here have been going down, so that's a good sign too. Your number of homes for sale versus sold, looks like you have more properties that are on the market, so good. This is actually a good sign for condos and townhouses. And finally, your sales price over time has been trending upwards from January. So that was it for the Bay Area real estate market update for May of 2022. Again, I apologize in advance that we are missing some data points because I am filming this a little bit early because I'm leaving for a trip for a month. But we can still see here that the real estate market in the Bay Area is still very, very healthy and very strong. Properties are selling way above what their listing price is for. You can see that there's an upwards trends for the sales price over time. Days on market have been going down as well. So that means that in the spring month is still very competitive. Now, that being said, there is a slight warning here. Interest rates have continued to increase every single week from like 2 months ago. Eventually, this will cause a slowdown in the real estate market. So that being said, if you are doing speculative investing, meaning that you are buying a property and thinking that you're gonna sell it in the very near future for a massive profit, make sure you're buying good deals, because when the slowdown happens, you could be caught with a deal that does not make sense. So if you're buying properties on pure speculation and you don't think you're gonna make a big enough profit, or you're expecting the market to continue to carry you at 10% increase every single month, just be careful because that may not happen a few months down the road. You should always have contingencies. You should also have multiple exit strategies in case you can't sell the property at the price you expect to. That being said, if you are not a speculative investor, you plan on buying this property for a very long time and you plan on living in it for many years to come, then I would say now is a great time to buy a property. The rates are still relatively low relative to historical averages. There are people who used to pay 10, 15% a year for their mortgages. 5% may sound high, but it's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. Again, if you plan on buying a property, think long term. It's okay to buy it, just don't buy with the expectation that you need to get bailed out in the next few months or so. Because over the long run, I do believe that the real estate market in the Bay Area is going to be very, very strong. Even though people are starting to leave, ourselves included, we did leave to Texas. The Bay Area market is still very strong because it has this huge network of people who are hiring and they do pay better wages. So it's still a very attractive place to live in. You also can't complain that the weather there is amazing and they don't have crazy bugs as much in California as they do in other places in the country. Now that being said, if you guys are looking to flip a house and you think you have a great deal but you need more financing, then feel free to schedule a call with me with the link in the description below to schedule a call with me to see how we can help you fund your next real estate project. We do hard money loans pretty much across the country, and we can help almost all of you guys if you are planning to do a fix and flip project. So again, if you guys need help financing your next deal, feel free to schedule a call with me with the link in the description below. And let me know your thoughts about the Bay Area market. Do you think it's going to continue to increase, or is there a sudden shift coming in the very near future? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Take care.